Get out the way. Alright, y'all. Welcome back to another stream. It's your boy Bruce Leroy once again. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever the fuck it is. Before I kick y'all ass. I'm not playing with y'all. That's why I don't do. You already know I do already. Fuck. You already do all my. Fuck. Move on. Follow me on all my social medias. TikTok, Instagram. What's the other shit? Twitter. Everything's that I am Bruce Leroy. TikTok, I believe it is Bruce Leroy BIH. Alright, so here's the thing. So basically, all we're doing today is highlights. For those that are watching this stream also, I might clip this, I might not. So I asked you guys, for those that follow me, and boy, y'all motherfuckers was rough. Shit, rough. Listen, I asked y'all if y'all wanted, well actually, I ain't gonna hold you. You really got, for those that were hating on me and shit, or those that had like, maybe they said no, you guys actually helped me a lot. So in a way, as much as it was harsh, I actually appreciate you. Because what you did was, you took less work off my plate. So, for those that are like unfamiliar with what I'm speaking of, I put out like a little poll on social media, under the social medias I just said. I'm Bruce Leroy, at I am Bruce Leroy. So I asked you guys, I said, yo, do y'all want me like the full streams that you guys don't see, like, you know, if you missed this, so here's how Twitch works. If you have a 7-day window, right? Sometimes streamers that don't give you no window. But you have a 7-day window to go watch a full stream. If you miss that 7-day window, Twitch automatically deletes your stream. Okay, so I was asking y'all, because they're, you know, so y'all can get context into a more full discussion for those that didn't watch the stream, if you guys are willing to purchase it. You guys pretty much said no. But little do y'all know, y'all really didn't hurt my feelings. You actually just took less work off my plate. Because when I tell you, downloaded the fucking 4 gigabytes, 6 gigabytes, 10 gigabyte ass videos, and then having to upload the same shit. So I have to wait an hour, 30 to 45 minutes to an hour for one video to download. Then I gotta wait another 30 minutes to an hour for the shit to upload on Patreon. So honestly, you guys save me some work. But the reason why I mentioned my Patreon, because Cardi B just came out with an album. And for those that don't know, I love football today. Everybody knows I love me some football. I love talking football a lot. Here's the thing. Okay. What was I gonna say? Kind of losing my train of thought. Yes. So, also on top of that, my main goal is to be a hip hop and R&B artist. That's really my goal is in music. I love doing it. I love being an entertainer. Like that's why I said I'm not an artist. I'm an entertainer because I don't box myself in. Granted, if you ask me, okay, what's my number one? It's music. But at the end of the day, as much as I love being entertaining, I love talking football, I love getting on here, cursing motherfuckers out, cracking jokes and all type of stuff. I love doing my little comedy skits, which I have to get back to whenever I get a chance. It's been a little bit kind of crazy because, you know, the scheduling, as far as the streams is concerned, and then literally having to go grab clips and then do all this other shit as far as promoting those things. So I have to get back to finding a balance, and that's going to honestly take me a minute. All right. So I watched a video yesterday. So Steve Smith, I think it was the Agent 89 podcast. For those that don't know, Steve Smith is an all-time great receiver, the best receiver in Panthers history, arguably the best player in Panthers history. Some are going to argue Cam Newton, and I believe also Thomas Davis Sr. also enters the chat on that particular thing as well. But here's the thing. They brought up some really good discussions. Now, I really don't think I don't 100% agree with everything that Steve Smith has said. Like Steve Smith, if y'all remember, I reacted to Steve Smith and Brandon Marshall having a conversation about Jalen Hurts, about him really not being that guy, which I disagree with. If y'all go back on my YouTube at I am Bruce Leroy, if you go to, matter of fact, fuck it, I'm going to tell y'all exactly what video I can go to, because I have my channel up right now. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it yesterday, but just letting y'all know a second time as a reminder, the full Eagles Kansas City Chiefs recap, it is still on my Twitch under that 7-day window, but you permanently get that video because it's actually on my YouTube. Just go search up I am Bruce Leroy, like Follow me there, cause I be popping my shit, having fun, doing my comedy skits over there. Like, y'all definitely gonna have a good time on my channel for sure. But I want to tell y'all the exact video y'all can go to where I have a discussion about okay, see, this is what's pissing me off because I'm confused. All right, I'm sick of the hating. Trust my ops. I think it's on I'm sick of the hating rant. I think it's on there. It might be on I think it's on there. But anyway, moving forward, I think it's on that video. So it should have like a JPA football screenshot as a thumbnail. So I think it's in that video where I talk about it. So long story short, okay. Let me go back to the NFL highlights because I don't want to be on this page somewhere. Okay, great, super. All right, real shit. Let's have a discussion. So, what's what I'm trying to say? Yes. You're the man now, dog. All right. So, moving forward. So, it was a discussion. And then there was claiming that there were sources that said that Kellen Moore wanted to do certain things with the offense, but Jalen didn't have disability, this, that, and the third. And they compared him to Russell Wilson. And they said about it, they had a conversation about how Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts is not going to be the type of guy. Like, the way they have to do Jalen Hurts because of his quote-unquote inability compared to his peers, they have to structure the offense for easy routes. Hopefully I can get them. I like a little thing. Anyway, so they have to structure the routes and make the offense easy for him because the advanced shit I guess Jalen isn't equipped for. And they basically compared Jalen as far as they basically said that Russell Wilson wanted to be like Drew Brees, pick people from the pocket. And Russell Wilson didn't understand his limitations as far as what he's able to do and what he's not able to do. And they said that the difference between Jalen Hurts and Russell Wilson, that Jalen Hurts understands his shortcomings. And they called him very Brady-esque in a way where Brady would come to his team and they would he basically would go up to them and say, yo, listen, what do I need to do to win? What is the game plan? We running the ball? Like whatever the case may be, what do I have to do in order for us to win this week? But it said there's some limitations as far as how he's able to read defenses and things of that nature. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I know what y'all expecting. You expect to be to curse out Steve Smith. But I'm going to be honest with you. While I don't necessarily 100% agree with the notion, and also Steve Smith said that, hold on. Okay. So Steve Smith was like, he's not 100% sure. With the game on the line, and there's 30 seconds left to go, or however much time, he could put the team on his back and lead a comeback. Something of that line. Matter of fact, fuck it. I'm about to do y'all a favor right now because I'm gonna let y'all hear it, and then we'll have a discussion about it. Okay? So I'm gonna do y'all that favor because we have time. Why not? And then after that, we'll get to the NFL highlights. But I want y'all to hear for yourselves.
If you don't understand the rules of
we're not watching the whole thing by the way. Like the first 10 minutes. Or
does.
He was fired just 3 weeks.
Why the fuck you needed two ads?
And now he's becoming an industry whistleblower.
I did.
Okay. I know this is going to be a hot take. I know some people are going to be upset about it. But let 89 roll the dice and go ahead and hit that 7 like I was in college. I had someone tell me that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. And I go, who? And I said, I reserve. And I said, and watching the game, when I see a team below 100 yards, and I start asking all the questions, is Jalen Hurts comparable to how Russell Wilson was with the Seattle Seahawks?
Whoa. Now, see, I know, again, no idea where we were going with this. Steve said, hit record. I got something I got to ask you. So
Yes,
I have
and
no
this
clue.
is, listen,
And
this is a question. This is not a statement.
I know, but the reason I'm setting it up like that is this is one of top 3, you think, Steve? Top 2 most debated players in football right now.
Thank you. I thought
People
you were about to say quarterback.
have-
I was
no,
about to,
people
I was
have-
about to lose my shirt.
People have such firm beliefs over here or over here on Jalen Hurts.
That is
and
correct.
9 times out of 10, there's no convincing them otherwise.
Yes.
They either think he's completely overrated and an unbelievable team is carrying him, or the other side says he is so underrated, winning is the most important thing, it's a quarterback stat, why are you not equating that more frequently?
Which is true.
Which is true. And
So before you answer,
what you said I've never heard, though.
why?
I just hadn't, and it's a great question, because there was an aspect of the way Russ played or the way Russ was coached, which
In
in
the
my
beginning-
personal opinion, I have said this, I think what's happened to Russell Wilson since he left Seattle is a huge feather in the cap for Pete Carroll and his chances of getting into the Hall of Fame. I think he did a great job with the way they coached Russell Wilson.
Break down how they coach Russell Wilson.
If you talk to anybody there, it wasn't what they knew Russ could do. They knew what Russ couldn't do.
Which is?
Well, see the field was part of it. And it was easy reads. It was his athletic ability was leading.
What's easy? Break down an easy read for me as an insider that are talking to coaches, not goofballs like me sitting on this nice.
You're not a goofball. You know what reads are. You're part of the passing game.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm looking at the comments, and keep the comments coming. I'm looking at the comments because I really at this phase of my life, I'm just like, bro, I'm done saying what I know, and now I'm just start
firing what you feel. Throwing grenades. Listen, this is what I think. They made life easy on Russ. By the way, they ran the football and played defense. Is that not just how Pete Carroll coaches and his philosophy as a head coach?
Doesn't that sound familiar and Phil?
Okay. Certainly does.
I'm again, no dog in the fight. I'm a 40. Listen, through and through, I grew up. I'm a 49ers fan.
I do understand what you're saying because there are some comparisons. They had Russ on the move a lot. He would roll out, half the field type of reads, make sure you don't turn the football over. There were a number of years, if you remember, Steve, nobody would pay attention to the first half of the season in Seattle because they're up in Seattle, and for some reason, just maybe people outside of the Pacific Northwest are not paying attention. We have an Eastern-driven fan base in the NFL by a lot of people's metrics. By mid-season, it was like, shouldn't Russ be in the MVP conversation? Remember when that was happening, like year after year? And then it would kind of like fade away a little bit, and he would get no love for the MVP, and even though he was playing pretty well. I think you're right. I think Jalen Hurts is getting a little bit of that treatment because the roster is so good. The stats are not oftentimes very gaudy.
So let's break that. Let's talk about that because
I have a firm stance on this. I want to make a big point. So let's
right. So like with Jalen Hurts, when I see and watch him play, he's a hell of a football player. Let's just straight up call it what it is. However, when I watch his game, I'm not sitting there convinced that he can march down the field 80 yards with 30 seconds left on the clock and do something pretty darn amazing in the pocket.
Okay. I mean, I think it's debatable now. I think it's grown.
Okay.
I think he's grown. I mean, he was like the sixth best quarterback in the NFL against the blitz. These are off the top of the head, by the way. I didn't even know we were doing that.
And that's fantastic. And I'm not. So I'm asking, as a top 10 quarterback, or some Philly fans, a top 5 quarterback, what category is he a top 5 quarterback in? If you're talking about wins and Super Bowls, right? Yep. You go, okay, air quotes, he won a Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson hasn't. Okay?
Agreed.
However, I can't say with a straight face that Jalen Hurts makes A.J. Brown better. The last time I checked, they traded for A.J. Brown to improve the passing game.
True.
I cannot say that Jalen Hurts makes Saquon Barkley a better player. They brought Saquon Barkley to take the load off. And just from playing football, a smidge, if you are the guy...
Hey, what's going on? I appreciate you. I appreciate you. That's best. What's going on?
You actually say, give me more. And my folks have told me down in Philly when Kellen Moore was offensive coordinator, that there were things he wanted to do that he couldn't because of the inability of Jalen Hurts in the pass game.
Those are facts. Was I one of those people that told you that? Because I heard that too about Kellen. There was that argument last year.
I'm not going to tell my source, but yeah, it was.
Because there were, if you remember when Kellen took over last year, it was, whoa, I thought we brought in Kellen Moore. It's supposed to be different. Why does this look exactly the same? It looked exactly the same because
So real quick, this is what I'm doing. So yesterday, I watched a video about Steve Smith and this other dude who I don't know. He gave his take on Jalen Hurts. So this is what I'm doing right now, because if I basically tell you everything that he said, I'm gonna be a little bit long-winded. So I'd rather, in a way, play the video just a little bit of like the conversation he's having about Hurts, and then give my take on it. Because if I rehash every goddamn thing he said, my memory from watching the video from yesterday is a little bit fuzzy, and also just providing y'all more context so that y'all get in the full depth of what he's saying. I bet.
Kellen figured out very quickly what Jalen couldn't do and Jalen could do. And he went back to what Jalen can do. I think the crux of the argument is Philly is built differently and he plays the position differently. And people have a hard time wrapping their head around that. I think that's part of it. And I think it's okay to play the position differently. I think we're very narrow-minded in evaluating the quarterback position.
I
love this because I love that you brought up.
I'm going to be honest with you. So looking at your face here. I appreciate you. All right. So here's the thing. I could continue this. How long we got on this? Matter of fact, fuck it. I'll let it ride. I'll let it ride for like 10 minutes. It's all good.
Is the criticism that Lamar Jackson gets because all we say every offseason, which he could have won his third MVP this year, if he was second behind Josh Allen and he put up numbers that were very worthy of the MVP, right?
So Ridge is already really good at.
You know what? Fuck it.
Everyday carries.
Y'all.
I was surprised.
Okay, I'm not here to go watch the whole shit. If y'all want to see it, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback? Go look up 89 Steve Smith Sr. and just put that shit up on YouTube, and you should be able to find it. But look, and then obviously for those that were here earlier, I literally just mentioned how he spoke about the comparison between Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady. Here's the thing, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. Here's the thing. I'm not going to go crazy on Steve Smith. And the reason why I'm not going to go crazy on Steve Smith, because Steve Smith was an undersized guy who played way above his level as a wide receiver. And he didn't play with the best of quarterbacks. By the time Cam Newton came to Carolina, he was on his way out. I think there was some issues where he was trying to get, from what I heard, from what I remember, I think him telling the story, he wanted to get traded to the 49ers, and some shit happened between Carolina and 49ers where it didn't work out. That's why he said, if y'all was watching, that's why he said that he's a 49ers. I think he grew up in Cal. Don't quote me on that. But here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. This doesn't really, it sounds good. My sources said this, making these comparisons. But if you're not saying anything specific, so here's the reason why I'm not going to go crazy on Steve. I'm not going to go crazy on Steve Smith because I feel like that even though he's wrong, and I vehemently disagree with what he's saying, I can respect the difference of opinion because there's a productive. It's the difference between what Cam Newton did and what Steve Smith did. Steve Smith is trying to provide evidence for his take on Jalen Hurts. So even if it's a difference of opinion, I can at least respect that because there's a productive conversation going on. There's nothing productive about... So the biggest thing is this, right? Cam Newton flip-flopped and he said factually incorrect statements. So I'm going to go over what those factually... Because it wasn't just the Jalen Hurts bit. It was more after that. The first thing is... He said on First Take, the Eagles are not good enough to get past, he said if the Eagles were in the AFC and had to go up against Josh Allen and had to go up against Patrick Mahomes, they would not make it out of the conference. That's what he said. And he's wrong on multiple occasions. In 2023, Jalen Hurts led a comeback. This is what, mind you, this is around the time that they said that Jalen Hurts was an MVP candidate. Now, granted, as the Eagles fan and as somebody that's a supporter of Jalen Hurts, I do not think he was I do not think he was an MVP candidate the way the media was trying to hype him up. I thought the moments that he came through in the clutch, and by the way, that right there debunks his theory. And there's another point that also debunks Steve Smith's theory as well. But we're going to stick with the first point about Cam Newton saying that if the Eagles were in the AFC, they wouldn't get past him. First off, prior to the second Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts outplayed the Chiefs. The only difference in that Super Bowl game, if y'all remember, was a pity-pat-ass holding call on James Bradbury. That was the only separator. You can say, okay, Jalen Hurts fumbled the football, but that shit was so minuscule. We did such a great job. And on top of that, the field was fucking terrible. Because if I'm not mistaken, it was in Arizona. The surface of the field was garbage. So that affected our pass rush getting to Mahomes. Now, granted, I don't think what's this guy name? I don't think Jonathan Gannon would have made the adjustments like Vic Fangio. But it does, again, play a factor in that football game, whether we like it or not. Here's the thing. So we got that. We also beat him in the regular season. Now, whether or not you want to attribute us beating the Chiefs in 23 to a drop pass, shit happens in football. It is what it is. Because then you have to come and ask yourself, okay, why do we need to rely on this very one play to get past the team? So, yeah, you can say, oh, well, the guy dropped I don't know if it was Juju Smith-Schuster or somebody else, Valdez-Scantling. A drop pass costed the Chiefs the game. So fucking what? Why did you need that one play if you're so much better than us, why did you need that one play to overcome us? And not only that, I'm going to tell you another thing that also debunks Steve Smith's theory. Brandon Graham told one of the Bills players, he said, watch number one. He literally told him, predicted, he said, yo, watch number one. And he led the comeback and put the team on his back. That is the truth. The question we have to start really asking ourselves also so let's put all of the elite quarterbacks, everybody that y'all said is better than Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, even though y'all more under the consensus CJ Stroud is not better than Jalen Hurts because of the sophomore slump, and so far it's not looking too great for him right now. Even though that offensive line isn't great either, but he's not doing himself any favors with how he's playing. And I do think the offense needs to change. Because if y'all remember Texas with Deshaun Watson, and however y'all feel about Deshaun Watson after the massage bullshit that was going on with him, he was an elite quarterback. He was a top 5 quarterback in the league on the Texans. He was on his way to a Hall of Fame trajectory. Okay? That is the truth. Whether y'all like it or not, Deshaun Watson was that guy. But Deshaun Watson is encountering the same problems the Texans are facing right now. And that's offensive linemen and offensive lineman depth. So what adjustments were made for Deshaun Watson? Getting the ball out of your hands quickly. They may have the wide receiver weapons to go make those big plays and make plays with more developed, complex routes, but they don't have the protection. So that means the offensive coordinator, whoever's calling the plays on offense for Coach DeMeco Ryan, they need to figure out a way to say, CJ Stroud, I understand we got Nico Collins and all of these, these receivers that can go up and make plays. But at the same time, our offensive line and our depth is not very good. And we gave up Tunzel, who was our best offensive lineman, to the Commanders. So the Texans, despite having all of these first-round picks, they got the splash players. They got Will Anderson. They got Petrie and all these guys who can make. They got some really good playmakers with those picks. But your work in the trenches is what's going to get you Super Bowl. See, this is what I love about Howie Roseman. And it's not just because, everybody looks at the flashy plays. Everybody looks at the flashy plays that we got. Oh shit, how did he get just ripped Saquon? Oh shit, how did he just get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who led the league in interceptions? How the fuck did he just, like, they basically robbed the Saints. Oh shit, how the hell did he turn Carson Wentz getting traded? We was in cap hell for like a couple years. Got a 3rd round pick from Indianapolis. How the fuck did that turn into Devontae Smith? How did they just basically rob the Titans for A.J. Brown? Everybody focuses on the splash players, but nobody focuses on how he's prioritizing the trenches. And the trenches is not just the offensive line, it's the defensive line too. An overabundance of defensive tackles. An overabundance of an offensive line. Which, if your offensive line isn't right, I don't give a fuck who you got on your team. You can have Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin like the goddamn All-Madden team on Madden 97. You can have them on the same fucking team. You can have Herman Moore playing in the slot. For those that don't know Herman Moore, I suggest you go watch the highlights because he was a bad motherfucker in the 90s on the Detroit Lions football team. But here's the thing. You can have these things. So I'll give you another example as well. And I apologize for being scatterbrained. I know we got to watch the highlights, but I do want to have a discussion about this. The thing is this. What was I trying to say? Yes. Oh, fuck. I lost my train of thought. Okay. This is the same situation that's going on with the Chicago Bears right now. Chicago Bears dealing with the same shit. Think about it like this. Even last year, how do you fuck up Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, who can run and pass? How do you fuck that up? How do you not even get close to sniffing a conference championship? That doesn't make any sense. And then the defense is not great, but it's solid. I think they got Montrez Sweat from the Commanders. They got TJ Edwards from us in free agency, and he's looking like a top 10 defensive player in this league. Who else? Jalen Johnson, top 5 corner in this league, arguably a top 10 defensive player in this league. They got some pieces. Again, I do think that the Bears need to continue to develop their front seven as time goes along, and they need a defensive tackle to really be disruptive in the middle. That's why they were so fucking stupid for literally allowing us to trade with them. They really thought like, yeah, we got a no-name ass offensive lineman from Tennessee, yeah. But literally they lost because they needed Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter would have completely transformed their defense. But Ryan Poles does some great things, and other times he just does not. But you got all of these pieces on the Chicago Bears, and you notice how Chicago is arguably the worst team in the fucking league. Arguably the worst team in the league with all of these weapons. Why? Because they did not prioritize offensive line. When I look at Howie Roseman, I'll just look at the Saquon and A.J. Brown and how they got Devontae Swift. By the way, and I said this before, I'll say it again. For those that followed me since I Am Bruce Leroy on YouTube. And it's still up. And I've said this, you can go pull it up. Listen, I got the Eagles playlist, bro. Bottom line is this. Y'all was killing Doug Peterson because he took Jalen out on that last game against the Washington Commanders. But if he didn't do that, we would have never been in position to go grab Devontae Smith. So it worked out. It was a blessing in disguise. I was ready to burn. I think Doug Peterson got fired after that year. But I was ready to burn this nigga at the stake. And because of that move, him pulling Jalen Hurts out, we got the number 6 pick, and we got number 6 on our team. Who is my favorite wide receiver, and definitively a top 10 wide receiver in the league. And I don't give a fuck if his peers voted for him in the top 100 or whatever. He's more than deserving. I would say he's a top 20-ish player in the league. For those that don't watch football or you just hate the Eagles, of course you're going to say otherwise. But if you know football, you watch it. And the person that I described Devontae Smith is, I described Devontae Smith, I compared him to Steve Smith. Because they play bigger than their size. So once again, I'm not going to go crazy on Steve Smith because he had a difference between him and Cam Newton. He didn't say shit that was factually okay. I think he was wrong with some things, but he gave good, solid arguments that made you kind of think. Even though I disagree with his take on Jalen Hurts, and I've said it before, when he had that conversation with Brandon Marshall, he made good points. So I'm going to tell you where I disagree. Number one, I do agree with the fact that the difference between Jalen Hurts and Russell Wilson wanted to play hero ball. Also, here's another thing as well. Sirianni was stubborn for years up until last year when it came to running the football. But better understanding now more than ever. Better late than ever. But here's the thing about Sirianni. Sirianni had a chance to do a tush push. We on the 1 yard line. He's not going to pass that fucking ball. He's not going to pass the ball. Say what you want about Sirianni and him not being an expert in X's and O's. He's not going on that 1 yard line. We got a chance to get a Super Bowl ring. He's not going to pass that fucking ball. That's the difference. So you guys want to praise Pete Carroll. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. But there's a reason why the Seahawks never really made it past the divisionals. And they never really sniffed too many conference champions. Like, there was always, they either lost the wild card game or they lost the divisionals. And it can't just be all Russell Wilson. Do I think Russell Wilson played a part in it? I feel like he was too concerned about the stats versus actually winning the football games? Yes. And at the end of the day, I do think, and this is being honest, physical talent, the numbers, Russell Wilson was that guy in Seattle. I still think he got a little bit left in the tank, but that Giants team was a fucking mess. I don't know how they even was competitive with the Cowboys to begin with, but whatever with that. But I think he was overrated. I think if you take Marshawn Lynch off the team, and by the way, they did that. They took Marshawn Lynch off the team. And look, they never sniffed another. And then you took pieces off. Richard Sherman eventually went away. Cam Chancellor. Only person that was left, I think Michael Bennett went somewhere else. So you took valuable pieces away. And Russell Wilson cannot even come close to duplicating that success. Difference between Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the part of the reason why the Eagles are winning. Jalen Hurts, as much as y'all want to say, he does not get carried by his weapons. When the time comes, he elevates the football team. And the biggest moments, when it's needed, when his number is called and say, hey, number one, lead us to victory, he's going to do it. Also, here's another thing as well. There's play calling ineptitude whether you like it or not. For the life of me, what the fuck do you expect Jalen Hurts to do when every route against a blitz is going vertical? When every route is a comeback to the sticks? How is that helping him? How is that helping him get better? How? That's culture malpractice. What the fuck does that have to do with Jalen Hurts? And his inability to... Come on now. Now, here's another thing that I could say to debunk Steve Smith's point. I'm not convinced that he can march 80 yards down the field and score. Well, guess what? That means we're doing our fucking job. The fact that we don't even know, this is about like what? Jalen's in his fifth year, I guess? Fifth year? And we're not sure if he can lead his team 80 yards down the field. Do you know what that means? That's a winner to me. Because he does the things early on. So we don't even have to get in that position. We don't have to get under those circumstances for him to have to play hero ball late in the game and have to rely on somebody hopefully catching the ball. That's the difference. Now, granted, I'm a huge Lamar fan. I like him as a human being. I think he's an amazing person. I don't know the guy personally, but from the outside looking in, I think he's an amazing person. And I think he's a fucking dynamic football player. And for those that want to say he's the greatest dual threat quarterback of all time, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm not. I'm going to say Mahomes, but Mahomes obviously don't run like Lamar can run. But if you want to say that, go ahead. I will also say the Ravens did not do a good job of surrounding him with a wideout that he throw that ball up there, he's coming down with it. And Zay Flowers, very good player, but I think, like I said before on multiple occasions, he's a poor man's version of Devontae Smith. Rashad Bateman has elevated his game tremendously, but I stand by what I said. If Baltimore continues to put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound when it comes to the wide receiver position, they will not win anything. I don't give a fuck if you got 2 all-pro caliber tight ends and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. And that defense isn't as razor sharp as much as y'all acting like. Because Geno Stone, you guys haven't replaced him at all. You haven't replaced the presence of Patrick Queen. You've not. You got some good players, but they haven't replaced the presence of those guys. So that's also a factor why Baltimore's not moving forward, because Geno Smith and Patrick Queen played really, really well for you. Those are franchise cornerstone pieces, and you let them walk. What does that say about the organization? But here's the thing. I know we all love Lamar, and he's dynamic. But the same way you guys got to hold everybody accountable as far as getting to the big game and winning when it matters the most, he's not above accountability. I love Lamar Jackson. I truly do. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan, bro. Dead ass. I will never shit talk Lamar Jackson. Maybe I might, trash talk here and there if we're playing them, but I will never go out of my way to disrespect that man, because not only does he seem like a tremendous human being to me, I respect the hell out of him as a football player. So I'll never disrespect Lamar Jackson whatsoever. But he's not above accountability as far as not getting the job done. Now, granted, I think some people were a little bit hard on him early on, because you have to remember there was a point in time where Lamar Jackson, when he got to the playoffs, Lamar Jackson wasn't even healthy. And you guys were killing Tua for the very early on. But Tua also had injury issues going into the playoffs. And then finally, when Tua was healthy for the playoffs, Miami didn't know what the fuck to do in the cold weather. And now all of these problems is coming. Also, and here's another thing as well, and it's something that you guys may not want to agree with, may not disagree with, but I'm going to tell you something right now. I have a hard time believing that Tua is just ass, and I'm going to explain why. I watched him on a couple of occasions against really tough ball clubs. Baltimore being one of those teams, and the Bills being one of those teams. That man put up 500 yards, 600 yards through the air. This is what I'm thinking. And y'all may agree, I may disagree. So, hey, it is what it is. I think all them concussions affects him. Think about it. I'll give you an example in Green Bay. Before the concussion in that Green Bay game, I think it was last year, he was firing on all cylinders. He got the concussion, he was not the same player. So I think all of them concussions is taking a toll on his body. And decision making is very important in a quarterback position. Just keeping it real. Because the same way y'all made excuses on myself, well, Crawford fought Errol Spence when he had a car accident. And as much as I'm going to say, yes, Crawford won that fight no matter what. It would be remiss to say, well, a car accident, especially to the magnitude that Errol Spence had, it does affect your body. Even if you fully recover from it, it does have an effect on your body. Your body's not the same after that. Tua's brain, I don't think, is the same after those concussions. Because I don't understand how somebody could throw for 500, 600 yards against elite ball clubs and go to looking like complete dog shit. By the way, I got to watch the Dolphins and the Bills game, but I'm just saying. So for Steve Smith's point, the fact that there's still questions, that means we do everything we're supposed to do during the game so we never have to put ourselves in a position to have to make a comeback. That says a lot about Jalen Hurts. It says a lot about how well coached this football team is as far as from a discipline standpoint and doing the good things early to win. By the way, he made something about, Saquon not being better. Let me tell you something right now. You want to know why Saquon didn't just get the 2,000 yards because we have arguably the best offensive line ever in all time. Maybe you could swap out Cam Jurgens for Kelsey if you want. It is what it is with that. Or you could probably put Mekhi Becton in for Tyler Steen, but I think Tyler Steen's playing amazing, by the way. You can even put in Isaac Samala, who I think he played for Pittsburgh. I don't know where he's at now. But I'm being honest with you. How should I put this? I'm losing my train of thought because I'm scatterbrained. You realize Jalen Hurts being a threat running the football aids in Saquon getting those yards. You do realize that, right? You do realize A.J. Brown played for the Titans. And yeah, you could say, okay, well, he doesn't make those guys better from his physicals, but Saquon doesn't get those 2,000 yards if Jalen Hurts is slow as fuck. The fact that he's a threat running the football is part of the reason why he gets those 2,000 yards. You can't deny that it's not a factor. It is a factor. It does matter. And A.J. Brown, like I said, he was with Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. I don't think Ryan Tannehill made A.J. Brown better. But you know what? Where did the Titans go? Nowhere. Ryan Tannehill is a C-plus quarterback, B-minus quarterback at best. An 85 out of 100 at best. Jalen Hurts can overcome that. Also, here's the thing. You can say Josh Allen's better than him. You can say Lamar Jackson's better than him. You can say Joe Burrow's better than him. You can say Patrick Mahomes is better than him. You can say those things. From a physical talent perspective, okay, fine. Maybe they'd put up better numbers. Maybe you like the way they play the position more. However you want to slice it. At the end of the day, I think it speaks volumes. And I don't think you can definitively say. Like, you can say, okay, such is a better quarterback because of the numbers. But if every time I face you, I beat you, what does your talent mean at the end of the day? Like, Mahomes is my favorite football player of all time. I think, I don't have to keep saying that shit. Y'all already know. For those that follow me, y'all already know. But I can't sit with a straight face and tell you Patrick Mahomes is better than Jalen Hurts because in the biggest moments, Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes. It's the truth. Not once, but twice. On the biggest stage. Jalen Hurts beat him also in those regular season meetings. So what does that tell you? It says a lot. The comeback against the Bills. We beat the Bengals in the regular season. We beat the Ravens definitively in the regular season. So how can you say? By the way, as much as I love Lamar Jackson, there are still some throws that I see and I look at Lamar Jackson and I say, I could tell he naturally isn't a great thrower of the football. I could tell that some of the hiccups that he started his career with when it came to throwing the football, it pops out every now and then. Not as often because he's done such a tremendous job at working at his craft and developing it to the player that he currently is. But I will be remiss to say I don't see these things pop up. I think Jalen Hurts plays the quarterback position better than Lamar Jackson. Y'all could say, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck. I see less of the missed throws. I don't see too many bad throws from Jalen Hurts as much. Honestly, I feel like the biggest thing with Jalen Hurts, and I've expressed this before, is consistency in playing on timing. That means what I saw Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys, I need to see that each and every game. I don't see it each and every game from Jalen Hurts. And I think that's why his numbers fall short. Because if you don't get the ball out on time all the time, he focuses too much on his primary receivers instead of looking at the check downs, looking underneath, spreading the ball around, things of that nature. He kind of does bad habits where he rolls to his right under pressure and the play is pretty much dead. Because it's not like he's the type of guy that's like, I don't think he's the best one. He's not bad. I think he's slightly improved over the years. He's not the best at throwing on a run, like I would say at Aaron Rodgers or maybe a Kyler Murray. Okay? Even to an extent, I would say Dak Prescott. But it says something if you say they're better and they can't fucking beat him. Period. How could I honestly say, even if you're more talented, how could I say I'm better than you? I can't beat you. He throws the ball better. So? Oh, he got more zip on his passes. So? You can't fucking beat me. So how are you better than me? You can't beat me. Allen Iverson had better ball handling than Michael Jordan. And probably, if Allen Iverson was like 6'6", shit. But Allen Iverson did win as many championships as Michael Jordan did. And I don't think he won all of those meetings against the Chicago Bulls. So how could I say Allen Iverson is better than Michael Jordan? How could I say he's better than Kobe Bryant? You understand what I'm saying? So it's the same argument. Just because you have more ability, you got to turn that ability. Because everybody wants to say, if I went to a lab, I want Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert hasn't proved he can elevate his team in the biggest moments. And that matters. I don't give a fuck that he can throw the ball out of us. I don't care. Because if that was the case, Joe Milton would be a top 5 quarterback right now. Why is Joe Milton not a top 5 quarterback? Because he's stubborn. He hard-headed. In this interview where I made a skit about it, y'all can look on the I Am Bruce Leroy channel on YouTube. You can see that he's the motherfucker's stubborn. He don't give a fuck. The press is asking him about it. I'm pretty sure the coaches that came up to him and let him like, listen, you need to put more touch in your passes. Because you can throw the ball at the fucking stadium all you want. The stadium or the field goal post or the goddamn stands in the crowd, those are not your wide receivers. It's the guys on the field with you that's lining up to go catch the ball on a given play. Those are your receivers. So if you're not hitting them receivers, or you're throwing balls that are actually not catchable, the fuck does it matter that you could throw the ball? What does it matter for? Does not. Completion percentage, efficiency, ability to move the sticks. I refuse to dunk on Jalen Hurts or to accept any criticism when he's not even given competent play calling. Not having a hot route against a blitz is incompetent play calling. Not being able to have some versatility in those routes to help Jalen do what you want him to do, which is to play efficient and not turn the ball over. I'm not dunking on Jalen Hurts for that. Just not. It's not to say that I'm going to call him out when he plays bad, and I've done so. I've even criticized Seth Joyner on multiple occasions, which I respect him. Because he's probably one of the very few people who actually gives great takes, and he's a like he was an amazing player, and he actually is one of the people who don't be saying delusional ass shit. Most of the time he be on point, not all the time, most of the time. I say 90% of the time, 90% of the shit that Seth Joyner say be on point. The other 10% is just like no. But I get on Seth Joyner, I'm like, Seth Joyner, you can't tell motherfuckers how to speak. Like that Green Bay game when Jalen Hurts played like dog shit in that Green. Hey, he was terrible. I don't give a fuck what you're saying. I respect you. That man, he played like garbage in that divisional round of that playoffs. There's nothing you can tell me. I don't give a shit about what you're saying. I'm grateful, whatever. I don't care. I know what my eyes see. I'm going to say what I see. Just the same fact that, like, I'll give you an example, and after this, we're going to move on to the highlights and have a little fun with this. The same way. I'm going to call out what I see. Steve Smith is going to call out what he sees based on his experience playing in the game and then playing the game at a high level. And his credentials warrant him to be a Hall of Famer. Whether I disagree or I agree with what he's saying, he's speaking from his experience. So wrapping up this conversation, I'm not going to curse out Steve Smith. I'm not going to go crazy on the guy because even though he has a different opinion than me, the difference between what Cam Newton said and what Steve Smith said is that even though I could disagree with Steve Smith, there's a productive conversation going on. But there's a lot of vagueness going on. What exactly did Kellen Moore want to do in his offense that Jalen couldn't do? If you're not telling me what that is, then what is the point of the conversation? This conversation is going nowhere. So you can't say what your sources told you, like being vague, and you're not being specific. That's it. You're not being specific as to what Jalen Hurts has an inability to do. And from that perspective, I can't really take your word. Is what it is.